Fake Out comes out, but Ambipom is actually going to get paralyzed here due to static. That is massive. Good morrow, my friends! My name is Frankie, and welcome back to Gotta Drag 'em All-Stars, the internet's premier Drag Race and Pokemon crossover series that has the bottom queens battle it out with 6v6 Pokemon battles to see who sachets away. Last week, Maddie went home, and Suga saw herself in the bottom for the second week in a row. Vanilla still leads the pack here, but Kim, Asia, and Saphira are hot on her tail. So why don't we head into the workroom to check out the vibes after Maddie's elimination. But as always, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Ooh, girl, what's poppin'? Hi queens! We're halfway through the competition, so I think we should celebrate with some kinky boots and a chorus line. For this week's Maxi Challenge, you'll be performing in Pokemon the Rusical. It's gonna be wicked good. Rusicals, in essence, are all about choreo and either singing or lip-syncing. And while not all of our remaining queens have done one, some of them have done choreo or singing specific challenges, so I'll take those into consideration too. Of the queens who have participated, Crystal and Saphira were the most successful, each placing high. Crystal in Madonna the Rusical and Saphira in The Sound of Rusic. And if I had to pick one as the winner for our series, I'd go with Crystal because this little head bob movement honestly lives rent-free in my mind. I find it so funny. So I'll keep Saphira as high and put Manila there too for her high placement in a singing challenge on Season 3, which I think is a good enough proxy for a Rusical. Meanwhile, since Raven was in the bottom for a choreo challenge and high for a singing challenge, I'll split the difference and put her as safe, along with Gia and Suga. Asia has placed safe once and was in the bottom 2 once, so she's actually going to be one of our bottom queens of the week. And that leaves us with Nina, Kim, and Irene. Kim placed low in the Bitch Perfect Rusical, so I'll keep that placement for her. And while neither Nina nor Irene have done any sort of Rusical or singing or choreo challenge before, I'm going to put Nina as safe given her musicality as a DJ outside of the show, which sets the stage for a battle between our bottom queens of the week, Asia O'Hara and Irene Dubois. Y'all all know the drill by now, so let's take a look at which Pokemon each queen will be bringing to the battle, starting with Asia. The first Pokemon I chose for Miss O'Hara is Zapdos, based on her yellow Tweety Bird Feathers Runway. Zapdos has great stats across the board with particularly great special attack and a good speed stat. It'll be holding the Assault Vest to give its special defense an extra boost, and its ability Static gives it a chance to paralyze any Pokemon that make contact with it. This legendary bird will be dishing out some big damage with moves like Thunderbolt, Hurricane, and Volt Switch, making it a huge threat whenever it's on the field. Next, we have Florges, who is based on Asia's Hat's incredible look for giving a similar dandelion/flower vibe. Florges has sky-high special defense and a pretty good special attack stat as well. It'll be playing the role of a more defensive-oriented Pokemon with its leftovers, and moves like Toxic, Synthesis, and Moonblast allow it to either take advantage of its special attack stat, or play the long game and chip away at its opponents. Next up, I chose Bruxish based on Asia's mermaid fantasy look, because, I mean, just look at those lips. If that's not a direct match, I don't know what is. Bruxish will be a physical attacking menace for Asia with that impressive attack stat, and powered up even further with a Choice Band and its ability Strong Jaw, both of which will boost its attacks like Crunch and Psychic Fangs by 1.5 times each. It is quite frail though, so it'll want to get in, shoo up its opponents, and switch right back out again to avoid taking any unnecessary damage. Next up for Asia, we have Ninetales, who I chose based on Asia's orange, good twin runway look. Ninetales has some pretty decent stats, in particular a good speed and special defense stat. For Asia, Ninetales will be holding a Rocky Helmet to help chip away at any physical attackers, while the Flash Fire ability will allow it to absorb all fire-type attacks. It also has the deadly Calm Mind and Baton Pass combination, allowing it to get up a boost and then pass it off to a teammate. Anyone facing off against Ninetales will really have to keep that play in mind and do whatever they can to stop it. Next, we have Cinccino, who is based off of Asia's White Reunion fur look. Cinccino's stats are pretty middling, but it is quite speedy with a decent attack stat. Its main shtick is its ability Technician, which boosts the power of low base power moves, coupled with multi-hit moves like Tail Slap, Bullet Seed, and Rock Blast. The item Loaded Dice will also guarantee that these multi-hit moves always land at least 4 or 5 times, ensuring that Cinccino is a constant threat whenever it's on the field. And lastly, we have Vivillon, who is based on... yeah... Vivillon is pretty frail, but it has an okay special attack stat. Because Stealth Rocks would absolutely wreck this bug and flying type, it's holding the heavy-duty boots to avoid Stealth Rock damage, while its ability Compound Eyes increases the accuracy of all of its moves. This allows it to use riskier moves with a high miss chance like Sleep Powder and Hurricane relatively freely. Overall, Asia's team has some really heavy hitters in Zapdos, Bruxish, and Cinccino, and some good defensive options with Florges and Ninetales. Vivillon can also turn the tide of any battle if it's able to land a Sleep Powder. Asia's team looks particularly weak to rock types though, so she'll have to be careful of things like Stealth Rock and moves like Stone Edge or Power Gem.
It's about to be Asia O'Hara's drag race! I'm about to own this whole building!
Alright, let's move on to Irene's team, which starts off with Gorbis, who is based on Irene's pink promo look. Gorbis doesn't have great stats aside from its special attack and defense stats. It'll be holding the Wakan Berry for Irene, which will halve the damage from an incoming electric type attack. Irene will ideally use Shell Smash on Gorbis to boost its stats, and then go for Scalds and Ice Beams to dish out some big damage. Next we have Carnivine, who is based on Irene's unaired Beautiful Nightmares look. Carnivine has okay stats and can dish out some physical damage, but it'll be more of a support Pokemon for Irene. A Citrus Berry for some HP recovery, and the ability Levitate to avoid ground-type attacks, coupled with moves like Toxic, Knockoff, and Leech Seed, all help to make Carnivine a really annoying Pokemon to deal with. Next up, I chose Nidoqueen, based off of Irene's Tie-Dye to Die For look, as it's a reference to the Queen of France, Marie Antoinette. Nidoqueen's stats are nothing to write home about, but thanks to its ability Sheer Force, which boosts its power by 1.3 times, it'll still be quite a threat with amazing coverage moves like Ice Beam, Earth Power, and Thunderbolt. Its item Black Sludge will also give it a bit of survivability as well. Next, we have Blaziken, whose blonde hair and red features are based off of Irene's Start Your Engines look. Blaziken has a great attack stat, which will be further boosted by holding the Life Orb. Its ability Speed Boost will grant it a +1 in speed after each turn it's on the field, allowing it to outspeed most Pokemon after one turn and then deal some devastating damage with moves like Flare Blitz, Stone Edge, and Close Combat. Next up is Ambipom, who I chose based on Irene's Everybody Say Glove look. Ambipom has great speed and physical attack stats. Its main game plan will be to couple its ability Technician and its item Silk Scarf, which increases the power of normal type moves, and dish out some big damage with Fake Outs and Double Edge. Irene will want to keep Ambipom around as long as she can to use its priority boosted Fake Out over and over again. Lastly, we have Cursula, who is based on Irene's Spooky Reunion look. Cursula has incredible special attack and special defense stats. It's holding Leftovers to give it even more survivability, and its ability Weak Armor will lower its defense after getting hit with a physical attack, but increase its speed by 2 stages, giving it the ability to really wreak some havoc with moves like Scald, Shadow Ball, and Ice Beam. Overall, Irene has some really great physical attackers in Blaziken and Ambipom, and some alright special attackers in Gorbis and Nidoqueen. Carnivine again will be more of a support Pokemon who can dish out some physical damage as well, while Cursula definitely has the ability to turn the tide of any battle if properly set up.
I am going to rip this place to shreds.
And with that, let's round up our trainers and see how this battle will play out. Brew, over to you.
Irene Dubois. Asia O'Hara. I'm sorry, my dears, but you are up for elimination. 2 queens, stand before me. Ladies, this is your last chance to impress me and save yourself from elimination. The time has come for you to
Pokemon battle.
for your life. Good luck, and don't fuck it Earth.
Asia leads with Bruxish, while Irene is gonna go with Nidoqueen. And this is really a terrible matchup for Irene, so she swaps into Gorbis, who is going to get absolutely demolished by that Psychic Fangs. Luckily, Irene will now get a save switch into Ambipom, which prompts Asia to swap into Ninetales. Fake Out comes in from Ambipom, but it's gonna take some damage thanks to that Rocky Helmet on Ninetales. And Irene's going to want to keep Ambipom healthy, so she swaps into Blaziken, who is able to brush off that Flamethrower pretty well. Blaziken is going to outspeed on this turn and gets the Oko onto Ninetales with that Stone Edge to even up the battle. Asia brings in Bruxish, but thanks to that speed boost, Irene's actually going to get to move first, and a big Flare Blitz comes out, but it's not enough to get the KO, as Bruxish takes Blaziken out with another Psychic Fangs. Irene brings Ambipom back out, and Asia is going to swap into Zapdos as Fake Out comes out, but Ambipom is actually going to get paralyzed here due to static. That is massive. Irene swaps into Nidoqueen here in order to nullify that Volt Switch attempt. Asia's actually going to stay in on this next turn and land a big Hurricane, doing 60% of Nidoqueen's health as Irene sets up Stealth Rocks. Zapdos tries to go for another Hurricane, but it misses, giving Irene the chance to land an Ice Beam, bringing Zapdos down to 31%. Asia goes for another Hurricane, but it misses again, and Nidoqueen will miraculously take out Zapdos. Asia responds here by bringing in Bruxish, who is going to get the revenge KO with another Psychic Fangs. Irene will go with Ambipom again, as Asia will swap it into Florges on the incoming Fake Out. Fake Out still does 39% of Florges though. Both trainers here are gonna stay in as Asia goes for a big Moonblast, and Irene goes for a Double Edge to take Florges out and get hit with that recoil damage, but survive on 1% health. Asia swaps into Vivillon here, as Irene actually opts to keep Ambipom around and switch into Cursula, who takes that Bug Buzz extremely well. Vivillon will move first here and land a Sleep Powder onto Cursula on this turn. And Asia's gonna take the opportunity to U-turn out. This will trigger Cursula's weak armor, lowering its defense but increasing its speed as Asia brings in Cinccino. This could spell trouble for Asia as if Cursula is able to wake up, but no. Cursula stays asleep and Cinccino's knockoff will one-shot it thanks to that defense drop, and Irene is down to her last two Pokemon. In comes Ambipom, who goes for Fake Out yet again. Cinccino will flinch, but Ambipom's paralyzed, and Irene's just gonna let it go down here, as her last Pokemon will now be Carnivine. Asia goes for a Tail Slap, but it misses, giving Carnivine the chance to take Cinccino out without taking any damage at all. Can Irene make the comeback? Asia brings in Bruxish here, who barely survives after Stealth Rock damage, but is able to outspeed and Oko Carnivine with Ice Fang, and Asia will win the battle.
Asia O'Hara, Shantae, you stay. Irene Dubois, sachet away.
I wish that I could have gotten to show the world a little bit more of what I have to offer.
Y'all, this was a wild battle. There were so many one-hit KOs from both queens. Huge shout out also to Nidoqueen, who dodged 2 Hurricanes in a row to take out that Zapdos. But for me, there's really only one choice for most valuable Pokemon, and that's Asia's Bruxish, who not only got KOs on Gorbis, Blaziken, Nidoqueen, and Carnivine, but is also a girly pop icon. 6 queens down and only 5 to go till we reach the grand finale, so make sure you don't miss out on episode 7 coming in 2 short weeks. Bye!